Access TV, and Jigman Freud, the master debater, the cunning linguist, the admirable alliteration, all that crap. We're here, and Planet Comiccon, and I'm totally screwing this up, and so we're gonna go to something else. Okay, we're gonna do this.
You've done everything else, I think, yeah. Shannon, what was your...
So I was majoring in fine art, double majoring in fine art and art history, but pole vaulting is really probably what I because I pole vaulted 8 hours a day, and I was on the Olympic standby team with a couple other buddies, and I made American Gladiators, but my NCAA contract prevented me from being on the show, but we knew that. We just wanted to say we got on the show. We didn't quit. So that was most of what I did in college. I worked really hard, athletically, which allowed me to be in shape to sit at the desk, which is not good for you, the other hours in the day.
So nerds and sports do cross over.
They do. It's, yeah, it's a rare thing. Actually, Burt Reynolds was, he went to Florida State too, so he was still there at the university and would drop by during football season. So I actually got to know Burt Reynolds during those years because he also was a drama major who played football at Florida State, which is a very small ribbon niche within
the Venn diagram of this is getting like really itty bitty.
I have 5 friends in the entire 25 years that I can talk sports with, and also Doctor Who. You know, so it's a good crowd, but it's a small crowd.
Hey, I always say, sports nerds, they cosplay too. They just wear jerseys. They paint their faces and stuff. It's ridiculous, but I'm cool with it, man. You know, like what you like.
That's actually how I explained my dad what a cosplayer was.
Yeah?
Like imagine your favorite NFL player, that's what everyone uses for their favorite animator. And he goes, I get it now. I was like Halloween every year, he was so confused, but real Southern guy, I had no idea.
Yeah, it's like D&D is fantasy football, I'm from St. Louis, we only speak beer and baseball there, and yay. And so you gotta hold on to those things and use that to communicate with each other. For all you guys, it's like you have evolving careers. Like you started in something, changed into something, grew into something else. For people who want to be able to keep doing that, or they're getting in for the first time, what's some of like online resources or training or things that you would use to like keep up on the industry? What do you turn to stay fresh? Anybody?
Good start.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got this.
The blank stares on this one.
I was going to say, real quickly, things that you don't think about, like improv classes and learning how... I don't know about everybody else, you guys look all very social. Most of my friends are not gifted in these social arts, and yet 90% of you maintaining a career and getting a career in this industry, it's not how talented you are, it's how you're able to navigate going out and networking and hitting the bar and then being like, oh, Bill's looking for somebody on the new show? Well, Bill needs to get a drink from me right now. And then having sort of a ability to not be afraid, but then also maybe get a little bit of social skills when maybe I should back away now. I've been talking to this person too long. And it's not everybody has that. So if you don't have it, that's something that you should work on, and they don't teach that in school, unfortunately. They're always like, you get your degree and we're going to train you to be great, and then goodbye. Yeah. And they don't ever go, this is how much you should charge for this job. This is how you go about meeting people and going out on portfolio reviews, or how you go about finding out, in a nice way at a bar, how to interrupt a conversation, get the information you need, say thank you very much, and then go buy something from them in Artist Alley the next day. So they remember, oh, you're the guy from the bar last night. Thanks for coming along to stop and buy something. So that kind of stuff gets forgotten, and I know we'll get off on other stuff, so I just want to get that out there, that there is a social component to what we all do after you get in, to maintain the career. Getting in is easy. You know it's really hard. Getting in, staying in is so much harder than people, that never gets taught.
Yeah, I think a lot of times you have people like, once I break in, then I'm in the game. Like, you're still fighting to keep that career, that job, that momentum going all the time.
I've been on 4 shows since August, which means I've had to basically get laid off because the show's over, and they're like, you're awesome, we'll see you again in 9 months. I'm like, I am not independently wealthy. I'll probably be on something else by then. And that's very normal. I've worked for 25 years, and I've never worked 2 seasons on the same show. because there's such a big gap between seasons that you have to jump onto something else. And if you're doing good where you're at, and they call you back again in a year and say, hey, will you leave your job to go here? Well, then you're leaving the current job in the lurch. So that's just kind of one of those things where it's a constant shell game. You're always breaking in.
So this is pretty much a freelance gig economy thing that we're kind of...
Even when you're on staff, and I'm talking about staff jobs, I've got, pension, health plan, all that stuff, but it's all rotating from this company to this company, and our union sort of oversees and keeps it all in place. So that's my thing.
Yeah. So where do people go to learn how to do that stuff?
Make friends.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned that you're part of the union, so you have to apply to be a member of the union first in order to get those jobs, or?
You probably got the most recent experience. I mean, I can talk, but I think you probably know how this works. So.
Oh, sure. I mean, I got my job at Disney. You have to work a certain amount of... Oh, wait, no, I was a daily call. Got bumped up to full hire after a couple months. Yeah, and at least in LA, where they have the Animation Guild, you have to be a part of it if you're part of a major animation production. And so they come to you, they find you.
They say, you need to pay this.
You need to pay this for the next few years or something. Yeah.
And then after that, it's great.
Yeah.
At first, when you break in, you're like, oh man, that is a lot of money. And then over the years, then you're like, oh, I pay for a family of 5, $80 a year for my health benefits.
Beautiful.
And I'm on the same motion picture plan that George Clooney's on, so it's pretty good. So
Sweet pennies.
Yeah, there's an upside later on. So
Kara, do you have that stuff in Texas? Is it so far outside of the...
Well, we do the harassing mission. We do have a subsidiary in Burbank, California, so we're part of the union there for the Animation Guild. I would say just on the note of networking and keeping up with new projects and whatnot, I am obsessed with LinkedIn, and I know it's crazy, I'm not on Facebook or anything like that. I love LinkedIn because what I will do, and this is kind of, I do it for my boss, but also for me, and then whenever we're looking for new, and I've already been talking to them about, oh, y'all are freelancing, so we have some productions coming up. So we're a 2D traditional animation studio, a service studio, so we do a lot of the work for, we'll do the in-game cinemas for a bunch of different video games, and we did ones for, oh my gosh.
the Battle Chasers one you kicked out for Joe Mad, that was a sweet one.
Oh, so y'all knew that?
You're from Texas, I in your animation.
Okay, yeah, so Battle Chasers, Banner Saga, we've done that. We've done a lot with Activision. We do a lot. So what I will always do as part of my job is doing a little bit of lead research, as they'll call it. So I will figure out, up and coming animated series that are coming out, and I'll, our CEO, my CEO is, the CEO is my direct boss and his assistant, so I'll go to him and say, hey, you heard about this animated series that they're just announced or they're working on? And he'll be like, either, yes or no, and then I'll find out who is either working on it through a quote that I read in an article, and I'll look them up on LinkedIn, connect with them. Another thing that I do a lot, which I might know you guys from this, is I watch a lot of...
And I am out here at Planet Comiccon, and I'm going to get the hell out of the way and let people with talent talk. And, sir, go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Adrian Buskey. I am the host of the Nerd for a Living podcast, which explores the lives and careers of people who work in pop culture and genre entertainment. And I just realized I fell into podcast voice right there, because I say that phrase a lot. But basically what we do is we try to help connect people with careers in fulfilling roles, in doing the things that they love. And for us, that's the nerdy world of TV and film and gaming and comics and animation and all the things that you would find at Comic-Con. Like we're here at Planet right now, and the floor is full of people who are making their living, or at least part of their living, doing something that they're excited about and that they're passionate about. And that's what we try to connect those people with those career opportunities, and we talk to people who are doing it now in their day-to-day lives, and we learn from them what it takes to break in, what it takes to stay in, and the realities of what those careers are.
Now I understand that the website started out just as a resource and then went into a podcast? How did that become?
When we first started, nerdforaliving.com we intended mostly to write articles, and both ourselves, my wife and I, Wendy Buskey and I, run the site and the company, and the initial plan was to write articles and have it to be this like ongoing, growing resource for jobs. And we didn't really have like the clearest vision, like coming out the gate, what it was going to be, but we were going to do that, and we knew we'd already started doing like panel programming at a few shows, and we knew we enjoyed that. But I had just gotten done doing producing a podcast called Rockabot Radio, which was all about the craft of making comics. And it was my first time doing it, but I came from the world of radio, and so I kind of had some equipment laying around. And was like, okay, I'll do this, and it was fun. And so we thought, why don't we just make our own podcast as a supplementary element of Nerd for a Living? So it started off as something that was pretty casual. And in fact, the first year, we didn't really put many episodes out because of death in the family, and just it kind of languished a little bit. And then when we were sort of rebooting ourselves, we'd done some consulting, we had done, we'd done some article writing, and we found that stuff was more taxing on us than what we, like the enjoyment that we got out of it. We got some reach out of it, but it wasn't what we liked doing most. But the podcast was really fun, and we learned pretty quickly that because we were kind of poly nerds who did a lot of different stuff and could speak across a lot of different industries, that we could communicate with tons of creative professionals and speak to them well about what they did. And so that just really became the thing that we're like, this is what we do well. When we talk to people about what we do, it's what they bring up. And we also, just the opportunity to speak to these people and have those conversations was really special. So we just, over time, we kind of pivoted it away from the initial business model and became more podcast-centric. And now we're really podcast and events. Yeah.
That's cool. So, moderating the panel today that I saw, that was interesting. What tied all those folks together? Was it just the fact that they're all in sort of this industry, this Comic-Con type industry? Or?
Yeah, so we do the How to Be Nerd for a Living panel like all over the country, and every time that we do it, we take a look at the people who are going to be at the show, and we try to find as much as possible like a diverse range of voices that are coming from different industries. Now, depending on people's schedules and availability, sometimes it's harder to populate that. Like the one today, we had obviously there was a lot of animation and illustration that was like prevalent on it, and you're going to find that a lot being at a comic convention because there's a lot of art and business stuff around that. But like what we try to do is find people that come from their different ages, that broke in at different times, different experiences, and then when we have those conversations to discover what the unifying themes are, because people who work in comics, work in animation, work in in film and TV or publishing or whatever it is. Even though their industry has very specific things about it, mostly the advice that they can give is very universal. And we find that a lot whenever we have those conversations. So we try to diversify it, but then also find that there's takeaways that everybody in the audience can do, whether they're specifically art oriented or creative oriented, or the people who are like, oh, I'm not creative at all. That'll be like, because we get this question a lot. And actually, I should backtrack to say that when we started Nerd for a Living, the kind of genesis of the idea was doing some panels at shows at a Wizard World convention in St. Louis years ago. Yeah, and people came up to me and they said, "Man, I would love to work in comics. I would love to work in gaming, but I'm an accountant." Or or like I'm a lawyer, or I'm like I'm some other mundane kind of mundane like muggle job. And my response would be like, man, gaming companies need accountants, and everybody needs lawyers, and like every business out there, could use this stuff.
Yes.
And I was like, it's a matter of like, not feeling like you're boxed in because of what you do. There's a phrase that I like a lot, which is that instead of like following your dreams, follow your skills to your dreams. Take the stuff that you do best, and then apply that to what you do well. Because I think sometimes people have that like, oh, I'd love to work in that industry, but I'm not good at this thing, and they just wall themselves out of it. Like all of us have something that makes us special, and all of us have specific skills. It's just taking those things that you do well and applying it in an industry that you're passionate about.
That's awesome. Well, before we let you go, how do we find you online and social media and all that?
So the hub for all things Nerd for a Living is nerdforaliving.com. You can find us on Twitter as @Nerd for a Living. We're also on Instagram and Facebook. You can find us kind of similar names. It's mostly Nerd for a Living everywhere, except for Instagram. It's nerd_for_living. Because Instagram wasn't great for that. But really, Twitter's the primary hub for us. The show is available on iTunes. It's also available on TuneIn and Stitcher. And we're launching 2 new shows in the next couple of weeks. So Animation Invasion is going to focus entirely on careers in animation. And I'm really excited about that because I'm a huge cartoon fan. And then the other show is called Fictitious, and it's focused on genre storytelling, and primarily prose and fiction and novels, but we're also going to talk to screenwriters and people that write basically across a number of different mediums. And then if you're interested in keeping up with me, I'm also on Twitter as @AdrianBusky.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And thanks for watching Jiggy Jag TV. Bang. Well, that worked. And we went live on Periscope.
Okay.
So it'll be on your Twitter feed at some. Okay.
Go, idiot.
Jiggy Jag TV. We are live here at the Planet Comiccon 2017, and we've got all sorts of things happening. There's all sorts of things going on around us, and we are going to go to our first interview here, second interview, third interview, whatever it is, whatever you're watching. Thanks for watching, and I screwed that up again.